happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today I got a reaction to Jenny Lewis and her album Acid Tongue, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron of the channel, Caitlin. Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without them. Now, last month, I did Rilo Kiley's album, The Execution of All Things, for Caitlin, so go check that out. Obviously, Jenny Lewis is the leader over there. But we've never done a Jenny full album. Trey did the title track of this like 3 years ago for Caitlin, and I've done a song reaction. Trey did a couple song reaction, but never anything solo of Jenny. So let's dive into this album, get a little bit of info. If you don't know about Jenny, she's an American singer, songwriter, musician, and actress. She was a lead singer, rhythm guitarist, and keyboardist. I already said this, for the indie rock band Rilo Kiley. She gained prominence in the 1980s as a child actress, appearing in the films Troop Beverly Hills in '89 and The Wizard in '89, and the television series Brooklyn Bridge for 3 years from '91 to '93. In the mid-'90s, she semi-retired from acting to focus on her musical career and formed Rilo Kiley in 1998 with former fellow child star Blake Sennett. Rilo Kiley released 4 albums before they disbanded in 2014. She's released 5 solo albums, but the first one, Rabbit Fur Coat, was with the Watson twins. So it's not really considered her debut solo album. This one is, so it's kind of weird, but she's had 5 of those. And in addition to her solo career, she's been a member of the Postal Service, Jenny and Johnny, and Nice As, begins with an F and it's 4 letters. You can fill in the blank, boys and girls. All right, let's get to this album. It's her quote, as I said, debut solo album, even though it was really her second. Released in September of 2008, inspired by jam sessions. It was recorded in December of 2007 through March of 2008 in Van Nuys, California, with the intent of capturing a more live feeling than that album I was talking about, 2006's Rabbit Fur Coat. She worked with a number of guest musicians, which I'll get into, and wrote the album with boyfriend Jonathan Rice, which is 22 in the US, 55 in the UK. Now, according to the Los Angeles Times, Jenny was inspired by house parties at Jonathan Wilson's Laurel Canyon home. She said, "We go to these jams in the canyon. They're fantastic. Jonathan invites older session musicians from the real Laurel Canyon era." I don't know why I can't say that word, right? And younger people who are just starting their bands who happen to live in the canyon, and we all get together and sing Grateful Dead covers and J.J. Cale songs. I'll be in for J.J. I'm not a big Deadhead, but hey, I digress. Lewis herself has said that it rocks a little harder in contrast to that Rabbit Fur Coat. Lewis also used Rilo Kiley's Under the Blacklight, which is notably polished compared to the band's earlier work, as a reference point to go in the complete opposite direction. Jenny explained that every song she writes is a response to the thing that I've written before. It's even as simple as, okay, I've written a ballad, now I want to push myself and write something more up-tempo. If I'm writing about myself, well, that subject can be tiresome, so then I focus on character-driven songs. So I'm always doing this back and forth just to keep myself interested. Talking to Nashville Scene, Jenny said the songs weren't written off the cuff, but they were definitely recorded, not carelessly, but with a real effort to capture a live feeling, particularly with the vocals. She said, "To me, it's a big step in a different direction, and to be able to sink into the vocal take while the band was playing was a very liberating experience for me." She also told the AV Club, "We played them on the road 100 times. She's already done all this, right? So we knew that we could walk into the studio and record them the same way. It wasn't really a studio record, but more of a live record in some ways. It's about getting the band together and creating an atmosphere that lent itself to good chemistry between the band members and trying to capture as much of the record live as we could." It's interesting on here, the musicians were split into like 2 groups, right? Group A was Jason Basil, Davey Farragar, Jonathan Rice, and Blake Mills. They would generally play the more rock and roll songs, and then the other like lineup would play the ballads. Now, she and him's Zoe Deschanel, and also actress of Elf fame and other things, provides backing vocals on a number of songs, while her bandmate M. Ward plays a moody guitar on Pretty Bird. Ward said that Acid Tongue is the greatest record Jenny has ever made. High praise, right? There are a number of other collaborations on this. Fellow Rilo Kiley member Jason Basil, Davey Farragar of Elvis Costello's band, The Imposters, Benji Hughes, Anna and Paz Lincolnton, Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes, and Jonathan Wilson all make contributions. It received generally favorable critic reviews, 75 out of 100 on Metacritic, but it was 14 in Blender's 33 Best Albums of 2008. I don't know why 33. 46 in Q's 50 Best Albums of the Year, and voted 18 in Rolling Stone's Readers Poll of the top 30 albums. So, with all that said, the music will not be in the video, but it'll be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along with us. Let's kick this thing off with the album opener, Black Sand, which was written solely by Jenny. I'll have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again. Caitlin. Black Sand. I love the arrangement. I love the way her voice sounded on this. She's playing a vibraphone on here as well as many other things. Cello, violin. This are on here as well. All kinds of things. But the Black Sand is kind of this ominous thing, right? That she gives these 3 different verses of kind of things that go wrong there, or things that are kind of mysterious there. But it's a really good album opener. Has some of the least amount of streams on this album, but I thought that was really good. Like I said, she sounded great. Now we go to Pretty Bird, also written solely by Jenny. Pretty Bird, a little bit of an abstract songwriter. I know she knows what it's about. I'm sure it's about something specific, but these little rundowns, and the bird becomes, there's blood involved eventually, and all this stuff, but different colors involved in it, chasing this color and that color. The acoustic guitar work on here in particular was fantastic by she and him's M Ward, and then also the bass on here was really, really good, which is not what I expect a lot of times from a Jenny Lewis song. But the bass was Jonathan Wilson, but really well done, really good ambiance. The chorus, you go west for the black setting sun, you go south to the white spirit world, you go east for those real green eyes, you go north, walk the good red road, pretty bird, and then the bridge at the end for the blood of the pretty, the blood of the pretty, the blood of the pretty bird. So the pretty bird didn't make it. So I don't know if it's representation of maybe the girl that got hurt in a relationship. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but we'll go with that. Next up, we have almost a 9-minute epic, The Next Messiah, written by Jenny and Jonathan Rice. It's another semi-autobiographical Jenny song, rooted in truth, but changed just enough. White Rabbit Fur Coat had obvious things about her mom, her dad, Eddie Gordon, who's on this album a little bit. He's on the song Jack Killed Mom, which is way later on it. They become characters. Jenny said, when someone isn't around, you create what you imagine your father might be. I try to protect myself. I will often go back and change the name. So her parents divorced and her dad kind of took off. She said she never saw him. Every once in a while she'd see a picture of him somewhere, like he just sent a picture of himself in Alaska, for example. But this song is a 9-minute ode to Barbra Streisand and the devil, and was tracked completely live with all the transition. It's the most exciting thing, Jenny says, I've ever been involved with in the studio. I wish the rest of the record had been more like that. It's actually 3 different songs that Jonathan Rice and myself wrote together. I happen to be a Streisand fan, and Streisand fancies a medley, so we discussed stringing the 3 songs together. All right, The Next Messiah, or Messiah, as Jenny says. Jenny sings this in I'm more familiar with her voice than those first 2 songs, especially as I was pointing out on Black Sand, how it sounded different. So the 3 songs aren't named, but I did come on and tell you because it shows me in the lyrics when the song changes. You can tell because the tempo changes anyway, so it's not any sort of rocket science that I came up with there. But The Next Messiah is the first part, and that's the best one. It's about her dad. I just always think my daddy was a farmer, race car driver, 4-week clover. He's the next Messiah. He's living in the woods, the dark and dank woods, with a cocktail waitress. He thinks she's an artist. So there's him. It paints a picture of him as a drifter, right? And he's the next Messiah. Then in part 2, Jonathan Rice comes in with her, and they sing together, right? And just kind of talking about, I don't really know what's going on, giving it up, backing you up, nothing's for free, those terrible deeds. When will they come to arrest you? When did she come to detest you? And then part 3, it's them together again, Jonathan and Jenny, but they're just singing together. I'm going to give my love to you. I want to tell you I love you. I didn't care for that one that much, but then it comes back at the very end. It gets back to the chorus. The music changes back up the tempo into He's the Next Messiah again, or Messiah. So it ends off with that chorus. So it ties it all together, which I thought was a really nice touch. Really well done song. You've got Zoe Deschanel on background vocals here. Chris Robinson's on the background vocals. I mean, you've got so many artists because, it's 3 songs in one. Next up, we got Bad Man's World, written by Jenny and Rice. Bad Man's World, really good bass work on this. I loved her voice on it. Song about her dad. And just really catchy, even though it's, some tough lyrics. Starts out with the chorus. Always like that touch. Neil Young famously starts off a lot of his songs with the chorus, but I like verse 2. Now that I'm standing, I've got something left to prove. Got a bullet left, but I can't decide. Which scorpion am I going to shoot? Will it be me? Will it be you? It's a bad man's world. I'll never forgive you for what you put us kids through. So she's kind of just talking about that, a suicide attempt there. Well done. Heavy song, man, even though her vocal performance is fantastic on it and that kind of lighter. It's a freaking hardcore song. Next up, we have the title track, written by Jenny. It was described by her as being a thinly veiled way of getting out of writing a strictly confessional song. She told Greg Cott of the Chicago Tribune, and may be a liar, or it may not be one. It also referenced a childhood experience of Lewis in which she experienced LSD at the age of 14. This was number 66 on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 best songs of 2008. Acid Tongue, that is a fantastic song. This is Jenny and her acoustic, and the great backing, like harmonies that come in there with her. Farmer Dave shared Jonathan Wilson, Jonathan Rice, and Black Rose, Chris Robinson on that. But this song is just fantastic. It just pulls you in, and some great lyrics on here. Verse 3 I like, and by the rolling river is exactly where I was. There was no snake oil cure for unlucky in love. To be lonely is a habit, like smoking or taking drugs. And I've quit them both, but man, was it rough. And then we get that now I'm tired. It just made me tired. Let's build ourselves a fire. The standout of the album so far. Next up, we have a Jenny written tune. We have C. Fernando. All right, C. Fernando. I saw that she was in an episode of Golden Girls and had a teddy bear named Fernando when she was a kid. So I don't think that's anything to do with this, but it was just interesting. A tour de force instrumentally, which was a great change, right? The dichotomy between this and the previous track, Acid Tongue. But that's where I would say the highlight of this thing is just the fantastic instrumentation. You had Jason Basil on the drums, which were great. That was the highlight. Farmer Dave Shear on the steel guitar. There's a subtle steel guitar on there, but you could pick it out. And Jonathan Rice on acoustic and electric. Just really, really well done. And next up, we got Godspeed, written by Jenny by herself. Godspeed, a very powerful song, right? Jenny's on the piano on there, and just fantastic. A couple cellos, a violin, just beautifully arranged. And talking to someone who's being hurt by a guy, whether I don't know if it's physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it, I don't know. Come from a household where that was going on when I was growing up as a kid, so I fully identify with that. And she's trying to help this person. I don't know if it's trying to help her mom from her dad. I mean, you kind of read that stuff into it, but of course, Godspeed, keep the lighthouse inside. Godspeed you, keep the lighthouse inside. Godspeed you, put out the light, and I hope that I make it alive. Just very, very powerful stuff. Verse 2, there's no telling what he'll do. I wouldn't want him to hurt you in that way. Things you don't say reach me somehow. Anyway, just a really good song. Such diversity on this album, arrangement-wise and musical-wise, right? Just such diversity. Keeping with that diversity, we got Carpetbaggers next. Actually written by Jonathan Rice, her boyfriend at the time. It's a duet with Elvis Costello. And Jonathan wrote it to be performed on the Rabbit Fur Coat Tour a couple years before because they were lacking up-tempo songs. Jenny said she wanted to make it less country and a little more pop, so she emailed Elvis Costello. He mentioned he had 2 new songs and would be open to recording them. These songs became part of Costello's Momofuku, which I don't know that album. Carpetbaggers, just a fun song. Carpetbaggers were people from the North, guys from the North that moved to the South at the end of the Civil War. The Southern South, they were trying to take advantage of them. So they use that to talk about these women who come into town and try to take advantage of these guys, because the first verse is sung by Jenny. She talks about that in the chorus. I'm a carpetbagger, baby. I'm coming to your town. I'm going to treat you kind. I'm going to rob you blind, and I'll smile all the same. Whoa, yeah. And then Elvis's second verse, I think, is great. Sally could have had any of the boys, but she couldn't love no one she could not control. Friend of mine and her got married. I don't hear too much from him anymore. Last I heard, he had a rope around his neck, dragging around the grocery store, carrying her bags, pushing down the aisle, saying, ain't got no home in this world anymore. This man is defeated. So a fun one, man. I love Elvis Costello. All right, we got 3 songs left. We got Trying My Best to Love You, written by Lewis and Jonathan Rice. Just a beautiful song. Just a beautiful, Trying My Best to Love You. Our love is sweeter than strings. Our love is thicker than angel wings, but still sometimes I can't believe you're real. It's just that I've got diamond in my eyes for you, for you. And you go through all this, but the chorus, trying my best to love you. They make it so hard on us, baby. And then the bridge, it flips, right? You think they're together, even though times are tough and it's hard to stay together. I want you back, my baby. I want you back in my arms. I want you back right now. So I don't know if she lost him or they're just apart, but just a beautiful song. I mean, it's just the versatility on this album is insane. You had the cello and the violin on here, and you had Zoe on background vocals again. But yeah, the diversity is quite impressive. We go from that pretty song to Jack Killed Mom. I mean, this may be a pretty song too. It just doesn't sound like it's probably going to be that kind of song. Also, Jonathan and Jenny writing this one. Jack Killed Mom. What an epic tale, right? This is my least favorite song on this album, right? I don't necessarily care for it, yet I think it might be the most impressive, just what it does musically. We go from everything, even almost getting a bluegrass tempo, country tempo in there towards the end, then we kick everything up, and the tale that it is, and just the different iterations of Jenny's voice, like it's highly impressive. I just didn't care for it that much, but there's there's no particular reason I can point to it. It's just how it is sometimes. You got Farmer Dave Sure on the omnichord. So we have a lot of different things there. We've got a bass harmonica by Eddie Gordon. You just have everything in this song. A little tambourine, throwback to the 60s. So highly impressive, highly impressive. And we're going to finish it off with another Jonathan and Jenny co-written song, Sing a Song for Them. All right, Sing a Song for Them. Just a wonderful song. Again, beautiful song. Well done. And singing a song kind of for the downtrodden, right? People that people wouldn't sing songs for, to the never made it, to the unrecognized, to the alley rats and the tenement flies, to the weekend tweakers, the blonde and the blind, to the external seekers and the methadone wise. Sing a song for them. If you sing a song for them. Just a beautiful song, man. A wonderful way to finish this album. Now we're getting into my favorite tracks. Now look, there's 11 tracks on this album, and 8 of these are going to fall in honorable mention or favorites. Honorable mention: Bad Man's World, Godspeed. Trying My Best to Love You in this last song, Sing a Song for Them. Faves are going to be Black Sand, The Next Messiah, Acid Tongue, and Carpetbaggers. So you're probably going to guess as we move to my overall score, if 8 of the 11 are on my honorable mentions or faves, it's going to be a sky-high score. This album's fantastic. It's fantastic. Trey and I did an album draft a couple years ago where we did the top 10 albums from each year. If I could rewind to 2008, this album would be on my list, no doubt. I'm going to give it a sky-high 8.5. Almost pushing an 8.75. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because it has all these different styles. Jenny's able to put all these different styles, not only arrangement-wise, but vocally on here. And it just takes you through this great ride of just fantastic stuff. She could do any one of these styles and make a whole album of it and it'd be really good. But mixing them all together, it's fantastic. The different arrangements, the different guests that show up. It's great, man. So 8.5. Let me know what you think of this album below. What else should I listen to from Jenny? What are your favorite tracks, and where do you rank this in her discography? I know Caitlin told me this was her favorite Jenny Lewis album, and I can see why. So let me know what you think down below. Thank you to Caitlin for bringing this one. And until next time, guys, I will see you.